Session of the Seventh Parliament, which adjourned in April, resumes today, marking the continuation of the National Assembly's current session. According to the Parliamentary Calendar for 2024, the session will run until the 11th of July this year. Currently, 18 agenda items are slated for discussion and should be attended to by the deadline to avoid expiring. Joining us in the studio to talk more about that possibility of that expiration and what is on the order paper is Mr. Saki Kadikwa, Public Relations Officer at Parliament. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me in the studio.
I didn't know that, is it motions, they expire? Mm-hmm. So what would be the activities starting today, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, what we have lined up on our order paper is a number of motions that are possibly to be tabled today or to be read out today. And as we have indicated in our press release or media release, sort of to say, we have indicated that we have 18, but that's what we have recorded to date. So today's session, or possibly the rest of the week's sessions, we are also expecting to have more motions that will be tabled by the members of Parliament. So we have indicated 18, but as the sessions are unfolding, we are expecting to have more motions that are to be tabled by the MPs as well.
Okay. Which are the most critical motions?
I really can't say which ones are critical because they're all critical depending on the order paper of the day, because we have lined them up on the order paper of the day. So they're all critical in terms of how they're being dealt with. So
there is expiration to this tabling. Talk to us about that and what are the consequences?
Correct. As we are all aware that National Assembly sessions actually run for 2 sessions or annually 2 sessions, whereby one starts in February, ending in July, and to be specific, on the 11th of July, that's when our first session is coming to an end. The second session will be starting somewhere in September, ending in November. That's the calendar of Parliament. That's how the calendar of Parliament is set up. So what happened is a motion only runs for the duration of the session. Should a session come to an end and that motion is not dealt with, that motion expires. When a motion is expired and that motion has the possibility of being reintroduced again in the next session. So basically, for the layman, on the street to understand what we talk about when a motion lapses, is that when a motion is then tabled in Parliament, it has to run within the duration of that session. So should it lapse, the member or the mover of that motion has the possibility of reintroducing the motion again in the next session. So that's what we're talking about.
Okay. So are there any mechanisms in place to ensure that these motions do not lapse?
Not that we have set them up, but we are trying by all means to make sure that all those motions that are being tabled into the House should be dealt with within the frame time of the session. Those are the mechanisms. And as per the Parliamentary Standing Rules and Order, the discretion can also be made by the MPs, whereby they have to reach a consensus. Yes, that possibility is there.
Several parliamentary standing committees went out during recess. Can you brief us on some of those?
Yes, we had a number of public hearing and oversight visits that were conducted by a numerous number of parliamentary standing committees, whereby they visited the regions just to get the consensus from the general public. One as such is that of the One of that is that of the committee that deals with mental health issues, or sort of to say, whereby they visited and did an inspection of health facilities in the Ochozonjupa region. So basically what they do, they go out into the region because those motions are actually referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee for the committees actually to carry out their oversight visits and for them to solicit information from the general public, simply because we're trying to say that, yes, Parliament's duties is actually a collective responsibility and not necessarily just for members of Parliament. We are trying to hear the inputs of the general public and their consensus. So what happened is that such a Parliamentary Standing Committee will come back to Parliament with a comprehensive report as to what they've gathered on the ground and then report back to Parliament before they can also give recommendations and such.
How do they go out? Are they invited by a body of government? Can an individual write to a parliamentary standing committee? Or is it a committee decision that now it's time for them to go out?
Well, when a motion, in most cases, when a motion is presented in Parliament, such a motion can be referred to a parliamentary standing committee, depending on what the motion is actually addressing or trying or wishing to address. So, in total, we have about 7 or 8 parliamentary standing committee that deals with different issues. So, when a motion is referred to a parliamentary standing committee, such a committee will now then carry out an oversight visit to conduct an oversight in all 14 regions, depending on what the motion is actually entailing. Apart from that, the general public can also just write directly to Parliament and request that a parliamentary standing committee of a particular issue can visit that respective constituency or region. So we have a number of platforms where the public can also engage with us, either by writing, or they can actually just in attendance also participate at this oversight visit, because this oversight visit is actually an induction, or sort of say an engagement with members of Parliament are engaging with the general public, not just necessarily the leaders or the heads of those constituencies. And one of their responsibility as MPs or members of Parliament, the power invested in them is for them to summon or to subpoena any leaders or heads of institutions to come and be account on what they have actually utilized the funds for. So that's critical.
And they have been pretty active this year, haven't they?
Yes, now they have been very active, sort of to say, as we can see from the release, we have mentioned that they have conducted a number of oversights, which was within their mandate, to make sure that, yes, when they're on recess, they are not idle, but it's for them now to conduct their oversight visits. Yes.
18 items. Is this the busiest you have been, or it is just okay?
We have been busier compared to the 18 that we have just aligned or pointed out on the agenda. As I alluded earlier, that 18 is what we have recorded, but that does not mean that this is the only motions that we're going to deal with on this particular session. Remember that the session started in February, and so far we have dealt with a number of them already, and we only have 18 that are recorded. That does not mean that we are only going to deal with 18. We still have a continuation of them as time unfolds.
Before we wrap up, can you characterize these motions for us? Are they like policy related, or just what kind of motions are this?
Most of the motions are policy related issues. For example, if I can just go back to if I can just take you to the order paper of today, what's going to unfold today.
Right.
Yes. We have a motion whereby they're going to discuss the accessibility and the affordability of alcohol and drugs rehabilitation centers in Namibia. And another motion or debate or discussion that will be considered is that of the merging the National Youth Council into the National Youth Services. So you see how critical these motions are all. It all depends on what should be brought onto the table and then what will be discussed. Those are some of the motions that we'll be hearing.
So these events are not open to the public? People cannot go in? And
No. As I said, that Parliament is actually for the people, by the people, and we have an open door policy when it comes to the sessions at Parliament. Remember that NBC, which is actually a key stakeholder in terms of broadcasting what is unfolding in the chamber, that's a platform where the public can also view and live stream or view the sessions wherever they are. And we also have not chambers, we have a public gallery where the members of the public can come to Parliament and observe or view the session as they unfold, whereby they are merely just observers.
Are they used? Are these galleries
used? They are used, I should say. They are used in most cases. I remember when, we are mostly busy when we have the budget debates. That's when the public is so keen to come to Parliament, and when the President is also addressing the nation, or when he's officially opening Parliament. Those are our most busiest time, where the members of the public were flocking to come to Parliament. But as I said, we have galleries for the public where they can come and observe, and they just have to come to Parliament, and you can avail such a space to them.
Good to know. Saki Kadikwa, as Public Relations Officer at Parliament, it is always a pleasure hosting you.
Pleasure is always mine. Thank you.
All right.